This should hopefully have resolved the sync issue. But yeah, I simply assume that you are concerned about me. Alright, so there are a few things that I'm not happy about yet, which is mainly that in our form view we don't only use the @website instance variable, we also use @website_user_role. And in create we only have one of the two. However, we do render the form view here if someone entered an unknown email address. Viable clan member, hi, welcome back to Fullstack Live. How is your day been? Or going to be, depending on where you live. Alright, so I guess we'll fix this by reducing the number of instance variables we need. You woke up late, but 0 messages on Slack missed, so it's going to be a quiet day, I guess. PDX, thanks for the hosting. Okay, since website user role is associated with website, I guess we don't actually need this instance variable in the first place. Or I could, as I already wrote in this note to myself, I could refactor this using a presenter object that encapsulates both. However, I think in this case it's not necessary to add more complexity here. I should be able to get rid of website user role by going through website. Or simply, since we are in the website user roles controller, we simply work with website user role, because website user role of course is associated to this website, so we should be able to get from the role to the website and to the user in the end. So yeah. Have a great breakfast, PDX Insomniac. Have a great breakfast. Breakfast club. Well, I wouldn't mind having breakfast at 5 p.m. A second breakfast or something. A full English, or in my case rather a full Irish breakfast. Not quite. I'm actually a vegetarian, and so the full Irish or full English doesn't have much for vegetarians. I guess I'd be stuck with the tomato. It's basically the same. Okay, so let's make this change. I get rid of website. We can simply use the a local variable here. Then we go ahead and create a role based on this website. They're basically the same, yeah. You might want to ask a history book where the conflicts resulted from. I'm more abused than maybe I should, because I'm not actually Irish, as you probably can tell. And it's called the Boris Brexit deal, yeah. So now we've switched from Breakfast Club to Brexit Club. Okay, so we have our website user role, and we'll keep this one. And for create, we actually use a local variable here as well. Less instance variables is always a good thing. And then we could return the role from here. We would have to get it from the website assign user method. So, website user role, and start with a nil value here, and then we'll get it from our assign user method. We've passed in website, so we can still redirect, and now we can't render new here because it's not an instance variable, so I guess we will have to use the instance variable here. Now we can properly render this. Wait, now I'm getting confused here. Since we are rendering new, does render directly render the view? In this case, we need to have this website user role. And that means should in this case I need the same as I have up here. So why would I even use render here and not simply call new? Except that I'd like to pass in the error message as well. SEH. SEH? What do you mean? I'm not getting it. It's the argument of return, success false, versus throw new error, no auth. I don't follow. Sorry. Might be because it's a bit late for myself. Yeah, I can actually throw an exception. You're right. Which acts differently to the return keyword. You're correct. But this is not a throw. So what we do here is, if the user submitted an email that's known, that's actually present in our database, we assign this user to the website using a website user role, and then we redirect to the website page with a comment: user has been added, and this user should also be listed on the website page now. If we can't find the user, we re-render the email entry form accompanied by an error message that the user wasn't found. In this case, we need to pass in a valid instance variable named website user role. And yeah, I guess I'll factor this out into a method. Oh, how naming things. Why do I even pass in a website user role? Let's take a view. Let's take a look at the view. I might have confused myself. Okay, we have to add this hidden field that has the access level that's required. Some engineers argue return a view in an error state. Some prefer to try catch in that way. Some engineers argue return a view in an error state, which render does. Some prefer to try catch it that way. Isn't that what I'm doing actually? With render, I'm actually returning a view, namely the form. And since we don't do a redirect or anything, create basically returns the same form that new does by default. I think we are fine here with rendering this. The only thing I'd like to do is now let's simply pick a name. I'm inclined to name it new website user role for this website. Now I'm catching myself talking about website all the time, even though we are in the website user roles controller. Well, we need to. Well, it's nested under website, so that makes sense, and it's fair to that we are talking about the website all the time because we're trying to add a user to a website. Okay, and we'll have to pass in an access level as well. I guess. I think I'd like to. Well, maybe I'm going overboard with this. So let's take this part here. Put it here. Website is new access level, params access level. That makes sense. And now we use new website user role. And render our view, which is new by default, without any error message. In create, we try and add a website user from form, and we should that's also debatable if this is still singular responsibility principle, because we're also reacting. No, it's certainly not. Sometimes I wonder if I make it harder for myself than I should with all these clean code principles. I find myself questioning myself a lot, and I'm not sure if I'm going overboard with it. All right, let's get it working first and then think about style and stuff. We have new website user role, and I'm going to use this here as well. New website user role for this website, and then we can render new with an error message. What do we have here? Line is too long. Okay, so we can split this up. Not to worry. And okay. I guess at least it should work. Nope, does not. Undefined method. Oh yeah, I need to fix my website. Website main domain. Now I think we are violating law of Demeter. Okay, that should fix things. Nope, it does not. No route matches. Yeah, we don't have this website user roles with website ID nil. Oh, that's why. Of course, these are nested resources, and so I need that. We might have just done a 360 here, but Whatever. Maybe I feel so weird because these the code here isn't really complex. That's run-of-the-mill Rails controller stuff, but trying to do it cleanly requires a lot more thinking about how to structure things and, for example, which instance variables to use, and so I guess that's the problem here. Okay, green again. I think I'd like to take the final steps, namely redirecting or rendering the form again out of here and back into the create method, because it's not related to adding the website user. Christophosaurus, welcome to the stream. Hey, how you doing? What do you think of this backend? TypeScript GraphQL CRUD example? Let me see. Oh, you're asking me to review TypeScript code. I'm not sure if I'm the right person to ask this from, because I basically don't have any JavaScript, let alone TypeScript knowledge. On top of that, I've never actually worked with GraphQL, so well, I could read the code though and see how it's structured, but that'll take a bit more time for me to really parse this. Perfect test then, yeah. Okay, so I'll leave this open and I'll have a look later. If I can't read it in 1 minute, it's a fail. Okay, so let's spend this minute. I guess what you're trying to do is actually, so don't bother with tsconfig and stuff, because that's probably just plumbing. So indexed. Okay, yeah. I can see what this does. I don't know what an Apollo server is, however, that's quite common setup stuff you're doing there. Creating instances, connecting them to a port and things like that. So let's yeah, okay, here we have our models. We have a title, and we have the length of the movie, I assume, which defaults to 60 minutes. Okay. Well, it does look pretty clean. And here we have the user first name, last name, and age. And as always, we have an primary key auto-generated. For which you can import modules from type ORM. which I assume is basically the active record for TypeScript. And here, I think it's nicely structured. Anything in particular I should take a look at? Resolvers. Okay, so we're on the movie resolver. Movie update input. Movie input. I think I should have prior GraphQL knowledge to not only parse this but also understand it, because I have no idea what a mutation in this context does. $13 and $22. Yeah. Okay. So that's the central thing here, right? The resolver, because we are under resolvers. So this resolver operates on movie objects. There's a create movie. Okay, there's a create movie method basically that simply creates an actual movie object via the API, and I guess await has to do with async stuff, and there's async all over the place. Update movie needs an ID and actual movie attributes, and then we'll update our movie. Okay, interesting. And then dash delete that does the same. Okay, interesting. Yeah, that's pretty clean. I think I'd be able to probably understand that after reading up a bit about how this ORM works, and even though I can't be sure if this is JavaScript or TypeScript, well, yeah, well, that pretty much looks like JavaScript. Yeah, it's nice. Well done. Let's get back to my own code here. So, yeah, I'd like to simply do this part. If we find a user, then we'll assign it. However, the redirecting will be done here. And if we don't find anything, we'll have to have a new website user role instance variable. guess that's typical stuff that happens in an action method like this one. So if basically do something like this, I guess it makes sense to pass to return the role actually. No. In this case, we'll return the user if website user is present, namely not nil, then good. If not, we'll actually have to create a new website user role and start fresh with the form. Now our add website user from form creates a user. If it's present, it assigns it, and in any case we'll return it. It might be nil, and that's what our create method handles up here. Oh, you mean help me try and understand your ORM and TypeScript and things? I'll think about it. Maybe that's going to be another project for this stream eventually. I'd really like to get more into JavaScript, into this part of front-end programming. I'm coming from the deepest backend, from the system level up, so I think JavaScript is the last bastion that I haven't conquered yet, and I might simply get into TypeScript right away and try these things. But first I'll have to do these things here, because they're actual work items for me. This is not a construed thing, this is something that I'd really like to deliver to our customers. So okay, I think this is better now. In both actions we use new website user role to get one. And since we actually have to work with website anyway, I guess we can also revert our view. Let's run our test again. Apollo is amazing. You can give each component a GraphQL snippet, meaning a query, and Apollo merges them into one query for the whole render cycle, and then it MD5s that query into just 40 bytes, and it can send that AJAX via WebSocket. And let's take a look. Undefined local variable method website in control line 20. So correct. We need to use the this should take care of things. Stream died. Crap. This is really strange. Yeah, I can see some pings dropping out. Not many though. What does Twitch say about my connection? Unstable. Maybe I should try and reconnect my router as well. But, I've been streaming for 90 minutes already. And I haven't got much farther than I started. Well, we had a nice chat. Okay, so after the stream I'm going to reset my router. Yeah, of course, this, but that's the second part of the stream. I think I started at 4, or shortly after. Okay. This does work. We fixed the instance variable thing. We can add owners. I guess it's time to rebase this and do a merge request. Yeah, I think we can merge everything into one single commit here. So we'll have to revert this. This is all fix up. Yeah, connection seems to be still unstable. I apologize. Looking at my ping here, it's actually pretty nice. We have a few dropouts here and there, but most of the time it seems to be all right. But something isn't quite right, and I had this issue a few times recently. Maybe it's a combination of stuff that happens at Twitch and here. Yeah, it's hard to put a finger on things. Network issues are always hard to debug if it's not a complete connection dropout. Anyway, let's wrap this up. I've actually rebased successfully, so let's run a full test suite. Just to make sure we don't have any style issues and no security issues. Our CI system will run the same test again, but I prefer pushing a change that will actually succeed in CI and can be deployed right away. I've checked a few things. Okay, this was all good. Okay. I checked my connectivity. I'm pretty sure that if I run a speed test, it'll be fine as well. Ooh. Yeah, okay, I can't git push. After rebasing, we'll have to git push. Force. There we go. Now to create the push request. Yeah, music has skipped a bit as well. We can delete the source branch, we can squash because it's a single commit anyway. And I'll merge this after giving my colleague a chance to review my change. Even though it's probably pretty trivial. Whew. Okay. That's that. Will I tackle the UI token? To be honest, I need to go to the loo. And maybe it's time to start the weekend as well. Maybe I'll spend the time before dinner with debugging my network connection, so these stream issues don't keep reappearing. Okay, Twitch now says I have an excellent connection again. Maybe it's really connection issues from time to time, depending when our neighbors get home or something like that. There we go. Starts Netflix. No idea. And it's hard to control. All right. Yeah, I think I'm good. Let's write stream notes. I did actually continue work and I actually got something done. What did we learn? I guess I learned that we're still suffering from strange connection issues despite having scaled down to 720p. Writing clean code seems to, or making code clean seems to take 80% of my time after spending 20% on the actual business logic. Am I being overzealous here? I should think about this. Or maybe it's just because I don't have routine enough, and I'll get that improved by streaming more often, which I'm actually going to. I'd like to do another stream tomorrow at the same time, 4 p.m. Irish time, or 8 p.m. Pacific time, I guess. Is it? It might. Whatever. You know what I mean. And then I'll be back on Tuesday afternoon at 4 p.m. as well. So 3 times a week should become my new schedule if everything goes to plan. Next steps. Build API or make API token change and continue with user-centric milestone. All right, folks. That's it for today. Oh, nice, my pipeline passed, so that's good as well. For now, follow my stream if you haven't done so yet, so you get notifications. Follow my Twitter account at Gwiz, where I actually forgot to announce my stream today. And I'll hopefully see you tomorrow. Have a nice weekend anyway, and thanks for watching. Take care.